Images in Total CMS. Basically, we have two options for images inside Total CMS. We can either manage a static image, so like one image, okay? And basically what happens is you'll have an image drop area in the admin space. And if a customer uploads a new image or drags and drops an image on there, that image will be used wherever you use that image in the content area. And then if the customer drags another image onto there, it will replace the one there, and that new image will be displayed on the content side, right? Now, obviously, insert all disclaimers about browser caching, and if you're using Cloudflare, it caches the image and all that jazz, right? So for a while, I think most people kind of get that now, but for a while it was like, I uploaded a new image and I don't see it right away in my browser. And that was kind of the support craze for a while for us. And, you know, refreshing the browser or, you know, quitting the browser and restarting it, launching it kind of, you know, kickstarted things. Or if you're using Cloudflare, make sure that there are some tricks you could do with Cloudflare to disable caching of images in the CMS. I don't know. That's kind of defeats the purpose of using Cloudflare, kind of, because Cloudflare is cool because it does cache the images. So making it cache, you know, not cache something is not really all that cool, but you can do it. Now, obviously, you can also go into Cloudflare and purge stuff, but that's not really great for your customers because they're not going to know how to do that. But anyway, let's jump in and open the project file that we've been working on. And share my screen. Everyone can hear me just fine? Just a quick, just make sure everyone can hear me. Let me open up the chat room, make sure everyone can hear me. Yes? Awesome, audio is good, thank you. Let's share my screen. Okay, great. So let's go ahead and, let me minimize that window. Okay, open this file, here we go. I guess I'll leave that there. Okay. So images in Total CMS are really easy to do. It's just simple, right? Oh, wait. Oh, that's content. Whoops. Okay. On the content side, I need to add a admin stack. Boop. Okay. Let's be good, and we'll add this to. Let's do a 2-column over here, so we can do. Boop. I do images on that side. Okay. So here I am on the admin page that we've been using, and I've added an image stack, an image admin stack to the page. Okay. Let's go ahead and call this the CMS ID. We'll just call it, I don't know, single for single image. Obviously, you can change the placeholder image, and this customizes this little tagline below the cloud symbol. Okay. Now, right now, you have to choose whether or not a JPEG or a PNG is used. Okay. So most of the time, you're going to want a JPEG. That's probably primarily what we're going to be using, right? The reason you'd use a PNG is if, you know, it's for a logo that, excuse me, for a logo that maybe you need to have transparent background, right? Now, if you set the image type to be a JPEG and the customer, so you upload it, you set it as a JPEG and the customer uploads a PNG, what will happen? Okay. Well, basically what the CMS will do is it will convert it to a PNG. So if or it'll convert it to a JPEG, right? So if you have the image area set to be a JPEG and the customer uploads a PNG with transparency, okay, basically what will happen is all the parts that are transparent will be colored black. So I think I need to change that. I think it would probably be better if I color them white, or if it's possible, maybe give you guys that option, okay? But that is a limitation right now. it hasn't really caught many people off guard, but yes, I agree. White would be better. Thank you, Mike. So yes, if you upload a PNG with transparency and you have it set to JPEG, it will convert all those transparent PNGs. Since JPEG doesn't support, transparent pixels, it needs to color them. So right now it colors them black. I think maybe in the next update, I will switch that to white because I think white is probably a better choice. Okay, back to screen. Okay, so next is we have preview size. This is the preview size inside the admin area. Okay, so when you load the admin area, do you want to load the original image here? Do you want to upload or view the thumbnail or the square thumbnail? Okay, that is purely up to you. It's set to the original image. If your area that you're showing the image is kind of small, you could probably go with a thumbnail or a square thumbnail. Okay, we'll see what the differences are that in a little bit. We can play with that. The alt tag. Okay, this is pretty cool. So by default, you can have user defined. Okay, which means the user can define the alt tag for themselves. Okay, inside the admin area, which is the default. You can also set a default alt tag. So basically, this would be the alt tag that gets applied to the image before the user actually changes it themselves. Okay, so it just gives you the ability to create a default alt tag. Now, this is really cool. I think I added this in 1.3 as well. I don't remember now, but you can actually dynamically build an alt tag based off the metadata inside the actual JPEG file itself. Okay. So for instance, let's say you're a photographer and you apply, common, meta tags to, the title, okay, the caption and the copyright. Okay. And then you can also use the file name, the actual file name of the image. Okay. The original file name. So you can insert any of these or all of these, okay, into the alt tag. So basically, if I select all these boxes, it's going to take the title from the metadata, the file name, the title, the caption, and the copyright, and insert all of that inside the alt tag. And then, obviously you can turn on and off any of these. So if you want just the title, it'll then take the title of that image from the metadata and insert it. Now, this is only for the default. Afterwards, the user can go in and edit that alt tag, right? So this is just a way of defining a good default for image tags, or I'm sorry, for image alt text. Okay, so it's a really cool feature, and then it is a nice feature that the user can actually go ahead and edit that afterwards inside the CMS. I see a bunch of chatting going on. Let me see what's going on. Okay, great. Next is image and optimization. Okay, so here we can, by default, the CMS will automatically optimize the original image and generate images for you. Okay, so if you were to uncheck this optimize original image, essentially what it does, okay, is it takes the original image and plops it directly in the CMS. It doesn't do anything to it. It does nothing, okay? So that means even if the customer uploads a 10 megabyte image, okay, that 10 megabyte image will make it into the CMS, okay? I don't recommend that. Like, I've added this feature because enough, photographers that really want to make sure their untouched original image is in the CMS and it's being used, right? Because they've done all the optimization. They have the tools and the knowledge to optimize the images beforehand. They don't want the CMS to further optimize it, right? So I recommend for most use cases, you have optimized original image turned on, okay? If you or your customers really know what you're doing, and you're sure that you're not going to upload a gazillion megabyte images and kill your website performance, you can turn it off, right? This gives you enough rope to hang yourself, basically, right? So that's cool. Okay. So on top of optimizing the original image, you can also generate thumbnails. okay, which is on by default. And basically what the CMS will do is it will create two thumbnails for you, okay? It creates a proportionally scaled down thumbnail and a square thumbnail. So basically what that means is it'll scale the original image down, okay, and create a proportionally resized version of that. And then it will create a square cropped thumbnail. Now there is a setting that allows you to control when it creates that square crop, where that crop is taken from. Okay, so I'll show you in a setting in a second where you can determine whether or not it takes it from the top, the middle, or the bottom of the image. Okay, if it's a portrait, and if it's landscape, it'll be if it's the left, center, or right of the image. Okay, so let's look at that setting right now, but I just wanted to kind of show you visually what I meant by that. So here, the resize logic, auto, okay, and then here you have the control for portrait cropping, top, middle, bottom. Landscape is left, center, right. Okay, now this resize logic, okay, I would set it to auto because basically what that means is it's going to use the portrait mode for cropping portrait images and landscape mode for cropping landscape images. You can force it to always use portrait or force it to always use landscape. But I'd recommend leaving it as auto. It works pretty darn good right now. Okay. Now these settings down here are for optimizing the sizes of the images that the CMS generates for us. Okay. So by default, the original image will be scaled to 2000 pixels. Okay, so it'll be scaled down. So if the original image is smaller than 2000, it won't scale it up to 2000 pixels. But if someone uploads a 5000 pixel image, it'll shrink that down to be 2000 pixels wide. Now, if it's a portrait image, it'll be 2000 pixels tall. If it's a landscape image, it'll be 2000 pixels wide. That's kind of where this resize logic comes in, right? So on landscape images, it'll shrink it based on the width. On portrait images, it'll base it off the height, okay? And if you were to set resize logic to portrait, it'll always base it off the height, and the landscape, it'll always resize it based on the width, okay? Most of the time we want to have it auto so that on portraits, it's based off the height. On width, or landscape, it's based off the width, okay? So image max, again, that's 2000 pixels for the original's default. You can change that to be whatever you like. And the image quality is the JPEG compression. Now this is used for not only the original image, but also the thumbnails. Okay, so this is the, when you export from Pixelmator or Photoshop, that little slider that allows you to adjust the quality of the export. Okay, this is the same exact setting here. Okay, so its default's 85. I did a lot of exports. I thought 85 was a pretty decent export where it gave you a decent quality file that really couldn't be really seen the difference much on most images, and it gives you a nice smaller file size as well. So play around with these to be to configure them to what you want. I think 85% works pretty good, but you might think differently. And then here we go for thumbnail max. Okay, so this is for the proportional thumbnail, and then the square max. How big do you want this square thumbnail to be? Okay. Now, on top of resizing images automatically for customers, we also now have upload validation rules. Okay, so this basically tests an image in the browser for various conditions before it's ever even uploaded to the server. Okay, so what we can do is we can say, if you turn on mode, okay, upload rule mode, you can say, I want to make sure that the customer only uploads a landscaped image here. If they were to try to drag in a portrait image, it would give them an error, and they wouldn't be allowed to upload a portrait image. Okay, same thing if if you're say you have to upload a portrait image here, they won't be able to upload a landscape image. So that's convenient because a lot of times when you're building certain layouts, like some layouts are just made for a landscape image, right? Or it really looks best if you have a portrait image here. So this is, again, getting to the point where, you know, you design the layout of a site, and basically we're making the CMS control what the customer is allowed to do, right? So, you know, if you build a layout and you're like, man, this looks crap if a customer uploads a portrait image, make it so they have to upload a landscape image, right? It just makes their website look better, right? So that's a good layout rule to have for uploading images. Next is size. So this is actual file size. So you can say, you know, a customer isn't allowed to upload an image that's larger than 500 kilobytes, okay? Or you can change that, right, to be whatever you like. And then next is you can have a minimum and maximum height and minimum and maximum width. Okay, so the minimums is actually a good thing, right? It's not only just making sure the customer isn't uploading a 5,000 pixel image, but maybe you also don't want them to upload a 100 pixel image, right? So it kind of gives you the ability to, you know, make sure that the customer is uploading, you know, proper images within reason, okay, by providing a minimum and maximum value for what they should be uploading. Okay. So that goes through all these settings for images, for an image stack, okay? Let's go ahead and test and upload an image. Now, you probably have noticed if you used RapidWeaver or Total CMS inside RapidWeaver at all before, if you have an image, okay? Oh, I'll be damned. Oh, wait, what happened here? Oh, you cannot upload it inside RapidWeaver. Okay, it won't work. Actually, before you couldn't even drag and drop it into RapidWeaver. So I'm actually surprised that actually worked at all. But if you preview in a browser, okay, traditionally this has worked. Oh, what happened? What did I do? That's weird. I'm running a beta of RapidWeaver right now. Oh, what the heck? Let's let me publish my file. Got to remove that protect stack. Actually, I'm going to do that right now. Just for today, I'm going to delete that protect stack so I don't have to keep logging in. Okay. So, oh, there it goes. Okay, could be something with the latest betas in RapidWeaver 7.5. But so we saw I dragged and dropped my image, and then on the content side, editing alt tag, right? So once an image is uploaded and you hover over it, you'll see that there are in the admin area a few things that we can do. Okay, this is called the action bar. It's what I call it in my code. Okay. The first one is a little tag that obviously allows us to edit the alt tag information for this image. Okay. So this was, this was actually from a Total CMS Hangout that we did when I launched Total CMS. Oops. So I'm going to save that. So now the alt tag of this image is set to Total CMS Hangout. Okay. This image here, or this button, I should say, okay, opens up a Lightbox that gives us a few things. It allows us to see the full, okay, warehouse image URL to an image, the warehouse URL to the thumbnail, and the actual URL warehoused to the square thumbnail. Okay, so if I were to copy this and just put that in the browser, right, you'll see that is the original image, right? And if I were to do -th, that would be the thumbnail, okay? And we can look at the square thumbnail generated. And there's the square thumbnail that was generated, okay? Now, all these versions of the image were generated purely by me dragging and dropping the image into this admin area, okay? Now, below in this Lightbox, it actually displays what the original image is, okay? Obviously, it's scaled down a little bit, but it shows you what that image is. The reason for that is, let's say in this preview, if you are showing, remember in RapidWeaver, in the settings here, I said that you could do, you could, where was it? Oh, preview size. Let's say you set that to be square thumbnail, right? You could still see, and the square thumbnail was displayed here. If you were to click on this, you could still see the original image, what it looks like, the non-thumbnail version, basically, okay? So that's convenient. And obviously this trash can will delete the image. So if I go ahead and delete that, it'll confirm it. Are you sure you want to delete it? I say yes, and it will delete that image. Okay, so again, if I want to go ahead and look, it should there. So I refresh, that image no longer exists. So 404, okay, on the server, that URL doesn't exist. Okay. Now remember, earlier today I was talking about how the CMS backs up data, right? So if we go to backups, okay, we'll go to image, single, and here we go. We'll see that now I have a full backup of this image. And if I were to, preview that, there's my image. And I could download that and restore it by uploading it back into the CMS. And again, these are date and time stamped, and it saves, as you see, it does save the thumbnail and the square thumbnail. It doesn't really need to. You could just download the original and re-upload it, right? And it also saves this .cms file. That is the alt text, okay? And so the alt text is also version controlled and backed up into the CMS. Now, if we were to look into the image directory, we'll see that there's nothing there because I deleted the image, right? If you remember, I did delete the image. So if we go back into here, actually, no, let's go to Safari and let's re-upload an image. So if I were to re-upload this image here, okay, and then I go to my browser and I refresh, okay, we'll see now I have, okay, the image, okay, as well as the thumbnail and the square thumbnail, right? So that's really cool. It kind of gives us the basics of how to upload images. It shows us where in the CMS data folder they live, right? CMS data, and it's an image, so it's going to be in the image folder. And then it's going to be named inside that folder. It's going to be named the CMS ID. Okay, so here I gave the CMS ID of single. So this is single.jpg. Although this woman isn't single, she is my wife. She's very happily married. Yeah, that, and it creates the thumbnails, and this is the alt text for that image. Okay. Okay, next up, the content side. So we've done images. Actually, while we're here, no, we'll do content on images first. Okay. Let's go ahead on this page. Let's go ahead and add an image into this tab. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and let's add in, let's go to the CMS content stacks. Okay. And I'm just going to simply add in the image there. Okay. Actually, let's go ahead and we'll add some layout here. Let's go ahead and add a 2-column and then add that there and add the text over there. Okay, so this is the CMS image stack, the content side, right? Now, if we look at the settings here, we need to basically have it match, okay, what we saved inside the admin side. There's a bunch of stuff going on in the chat room. Okay. So in the image settings, we need to basically match it with what we have on the admin side. So the image type here is just going to be image. Okay. We'll go over what gallery and feeds and blogs are in a little bit. Basically, it allows you to pull a single image from a gallery or a blog post and display it as an image on the page. Okay. But in this case, we just want to display that single image that we created. So the CMS ID was single. The image type was JPEG. The missing action. This is useful because let's say if a customer deletes an image, you can actually hide the image. So if they delete it, it will be hidden on the content side. Or if they delete an image, it can actually show a default image. Okay. Now in this case, you need to define a warehoused image. You could get that warehoused image URL from the CMS if you wanted the default image to be manageable by the CMS as well. Okay. But you can just go in the admin area where I showed you, you can copy those URLs, right? You can copy those URLs and put that as the default image. But if you do nothing and the image doesn't exist, it'll just look like a regular broken image, right? It'll be a 404 on that image. But if the image is, if you allow the customer to delete an image and have it not show on a page, you can just say missing action equals hide, and then it will actually hide the image from the thing, right? From the content. The alt text, the import via total text. So basically what that does is it'll take in the alt text that's defined in the image that we saw, okay? Or you can manually set an alt tag if you want, okay? Most of the time you're not gonna manually set one though. Display, do you want to display the original image, the thumbnail, or the square thumbnail? Okay, and then you can also set a mobile image. So for mobile first, let's say you want to show the thumbnail on mobile and the original image on desktop, you can do that. Okay, or maybe for your layout, it makes sense where on mobile you use the square thumbnail, which is kind of cool, right? And then on desktop, it uses the original image. Okay, you can also auto lightbox things. So if you click on the image, it'll lightbox the image for you. Okay, you can have that. And you can also add a link to the image. The next thing is kind of how to style the images, these next settings. So, right, how do you want it to grow to container width, to find a max width, width of the image, so on and so forth, right? Alignment options, and then borders. You can add some borders to the image. You can also make it a circle image, okay? Now, the circle image only makes sense if you're using a square thumbnail, because you can't make an image a circle if it does not start off as a square. So that's why there's a little disclaimer here that says that if you want this feature, you have to use the square thumbnail. Okay, but it is a very nice option. Okay, so let's quickly look at this. Let's go ahead and preview this. Oh, what happened? Did I set it up right? Wondering if it's looking for. Oh, haha. Oh, okay. So I found a little issue that I did that I know a lot of people do. RapidWeaver normally puts a backslash or a / at the end of your website address. Something I didn't cover actually at the very beginning of today is how important this website address is, okay? And normally RapidWeaver adds a slash. In the next update, whether or not it has a slash or not, I will add one. But we have to have a slash there. And that's probably why my image wasn't working earlier, actually. There we go. That makes a lot of sense now. Okay. So here we have the portrait image. As you saw earlier, I had it display the original image on desktop. And if we go down to mobile, should use the square thumbnail, right? Which is really cool. I'd probably want to use a higher resolution square thumbnail maybe, but I like the option of having a square thumbnail on mobile, because especially if you're doing portrait images or even landscape, right? It's kind of square images are kind of the thing on mobile, right? So using the square thumbnail on mobile works really, really well. I think it's great. So anyway, so that is that with the image stack. I think we went over all of the available options. Obviously, you can add borders and, like I said, circle image. If you want to see circle image, let's go ahead and say, I'm going to use the square thumbnail, and let's auto Lightbox, and let's make it a circle image, right? Just for fun. Let's go ahead and preview that in the browser. And so there's my circle thumbnail. And if I click on it, I can get the Lightbox to the original image, right? Now, obviously, again, this is really small, and I could probably, for this particular layout, it doesn't look great because the image is very small, but you get the drift where, oops, you can have the circle as an image. You click on it because I clicked on the auto Lightbox feature, and it auto Lightboxed to the original image, which is really nice. It's a nice little feature. I like that. Okay. Before I jump on to galleries, I'm just going to check out, see if anybody has any questions. The bar doesn't appear. Okay, so the bar, once you upload an image, excuse me. Let me preview that admin page again. So when you upload an image, I'm going to go ahead and upload a new image. Okay. Oops. I'll have to look into why that is. That's not working on in local preview, because it should. Okay. So let's go ahead and upload a new image here. So it's processing and is done. Okay, so the action bar for an image, it won't display until you refresh the page. There's a lot of complex stuff going on with generating that preview and then uploading it. And I have it as a request to do that so that this bar shows up immediately. Even if you upload it, it'll show it. But right now it doesn't. Right now you'd have to refresh the page, and then you can access all of this stuff. Okay. So yes, that is a known issue, for lack of a better word, that when you upload an image, you can't access the action bar unless you refresh the page. Okay. So yeah, thank you for pointing that out. That is a limitation right now. Okay. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into galleries, and let's look at galleries. So I'm going to go ahead and add in a gallery here. Galleries are pretty much, they're almost identical to an image. You just have multiple of them. Okay. So in a gallery, let's just set this to CMS ID of gallery. Okay. You have a placeholder. You can set the max height of the gallery. So if a person has 100 images here, the gallery that's in admin area, you can just scroll through it. Okay. So I recommend, keeping the max height to something. Alt is user defined, but you can also do the image metadata just like in the images. Okay. And then just like we had on the image stack, you can optimize original image, and then you can also, define the sizing for the original image and the thumbnails and the cropping position, and you have upload validation rules just like you do for the normal image stack. Okay, so really the settings here are very basic, or not basic, but it's the same thing as the image. So there's not much else new stuff to go over here. Okay, it's just all the same stuff from images. It just applies to every image in the gallery. Now, one thing you'll notice is you cannot choose between JPEG and PNGs. And the reason for that right now is galleries only support JPEGs right now. I do plan on trying to support both JPEGs and PNGs, but right now galleries only support just JPEG right now. Okay. So let's just go ahead and here, I'm going to create the content side of this, and let's go ahead in tab 2. We're going to create a gallery. Okay. Oops. I added the wrong gallery stack. We need to add a content gallery. Okay. Now on this side, it's pretty straightforward as well. You can have the image feed, which is a gallery. You can also choose from a feed. So all the images from a feed, all the images from the newest blog post, or all of the images from a random blog post. Okay. The CMS ID that we set up in the admin side is gallery. In the gallery view itself, by default, we want to show the square thumbnails, or you can show the actual, proportionally scaled thumbnails. You can say how many max images you want to display, and then the sort order. Okay. Newest first, by default, it will be, you can actually reorder these images. We'll upload a few and you can see that. Shuffle will just randomly shuffle the gallery around. Okay. Featured image support, we'll go over that in a second. In a little bit. Let's look at the normal gallery first. You can also add captions to the thumbnails. Okay. And that will insert the alt text as the caption. Okay. And then here in the grid, you can set how many images you want per row for mobile, tablet, and desktop. And then you have some alignment options. Do you want to center align, left align images, the width of the images, and then you can also do circle thumbnails, which is interesting if you're using the square thumbnail option, just like you could in the image stack. You can add frames to the thumbnails. Okay, so you can add like little frames to each one. And then you can also provide some custom styles, which is basically some styling on the Lightbox. Okay, so if you wanted custom styles on the Lightbox. If you are using Foundation, this uses the clearing gallery. So therefore, what it does is it'll use the settings that are inside site styles. While this publishes, let's go back to Safari. I want to go to the admin page. Okay, so here I can start uploading some images to my gallery. So I'm just going to go ahead and go, let's upload that one, and upload that one, and upload this one, and this one. I took this picture of the Golden Gate Bridge. I'm happy with that. It's one of my favorite pictures. I took a few of these. I took this one as well. I took the painted ladies one. I didn't take these two, but anyways, interesting tidbit. Okay, I think that's good. So that gives us a nice little gallery. If you'll notice here, well, actually on the gallery, the actions do pop up. Interesting, except the one that's already just uploaded. Okay. Now, if you refresh, you'll notice that instead of using kind of the scale down thumbnail, it actually uses a square thumbnail on refresh. Another thing you'll notice is we have the ability to do the same thing as in images. You can upload the meta tag, or the alt tag, I'm sorry. You can get the warehoused image URL, okay, to each image. And if you notice here, the image actually uses the original image name, okay? So in older versions of the CMS, it actually did like gallery 1, gallery 2, gallery 3, gallery 4. But I decided, I figured out how to keep the original image name for you guys so that for SEO purposes, if you wanted to keep that image name, you could. Okay. You can also delete an image. And the star, which doesn't exist in the image stack, allows you to set an image as a featured image. Okay, so let's set the Golden Gate Bridge one as a featured image. Okay, now you can also reorder images in this gallery. Okay, so like for instance, if I wanted this image to be the first image, I could just drag and drop it. Basically, when you go over this little 3 bars here, it shows the hand. Okay, and you can just simply drag that to the order in which you would want it, and it will reorder the gallery for you. Very nice feature. Okay. And then if we look at the content side, I think I put it where I put, here we go. So here I have my 5 images. And if we go down in scale, it should go on multiple lines, right? Okay. And what it does here, so you'll see is in the Lightbox, it opens it up in a Lightbox, and you can, go between all the various images inside there. Okay. Now there is other ways to use galleries other than a traditional gallery. You can also use the slideshow. So let's say at the top of the page, above here, I wanted to have a slideshow of my gallery. Okay, so basically I can then set the gallery to that. I want to use the full images. And there's a ton of settings here. I'm not going to dive into all the settings inside the slideshow stack. It's your traditional slideshow stack where you can have arrows and bullets and arrows, customize those, change the animations from fade to slide, things of that nature, right? So you guys are smart enough to be able to read through these settings. You can change the sort order, the theme, light, dark, all that jazz. Okay, so let's go ahead and here, let's just preview that locally. Should work. So here we are. This is the slideshow here. Obviously, I made it go full screen, and it should. How long is it set to? Oh, 10 seconds. That's really long. Set it to 1 second. There it goes. So there's a slideshow. It's cycling through the images, and we still have our gallery down here as well, right? So there, as you see, there's multiple ways to insert, and leverage gallery images inside your site with galleries and slideshows. There are also other third-party stacks that leverage galleries. There's quite a few of them actually. If you look on the Total CMS site, so I don't forget any, just go to total-cms.com. If you go to integrations here, we have a bunch of third-party integrations, and it's listed. So here's all the stacks that have image integration. Okay, so Impact, Header Pro, Paragraph Pro, the Photos stack from Nick Cates, the Gallery from Instax, Parallax, my Parallax stack. The Impact one is actually really beautiful. That's a great integration with Gallery. It's very powerful. It integrates with a bunch of different parts of Total CMS, blog and gallery. It also does blogs and feeds and files and a bunch of stuff for videos. So the Impact has some really great integrations with Total CMS. But this is definitely a page you should look at. We try to keep it up to date. I don't think there's anything that's missing from this page currently that integrates with Total CMS. Now pages on stacks on that page have like direct support for Total CMS, but like through the various text macros that the CMS supports, you can add support to virtually any stack almost, right? I'll give you a quick example now of how you can like leverage images into a stack that you like that supports at least warehoused images. So if a stack supports warehousing, you can integrate it with Total CMS pretty easily. So let's go ahead and jump in and see that as an example. Okay, so we're on the CMS Core. If we look at the CMS Core stack, okay, you'll see that there are a ton of macros here for path macros. Okay. So an example that I talked about during our little lunch break was we can get the, let's see here, CMS gallery image first CMS ID. Okay. So what this does is it will generate the path to an image, to the first image of a gallery. Okay, I tried to make these readable so you can see, right? There's also here, CMS gallery image random thumbnail. So it'll get the thumbnail of a random image in a gallery, okay? Same thing here, CMS gallery image last square. So it'll get the last image, the square thumbnail of that, right? And it will resolve the path to it, okay? So let's use that as an example. Before we actually put it in a stack, let's go ahead and just insert that as text on the page. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw in a text stack here at the top, and I'm going to do percent CMS gallery. Shoot, I should have CMS gallery image first. And our CMS ID was gallery. Okay, so that is the macro. CMS gallery image first, and then the CMS ID is gallery. Okay, we just preview that really quick. What you'll notice here is it inserts the URL to that first image. Okay, so this is an interesting way to just verify that it's what it's returning, right? And obviously, if I were to copy that and open it in a browser, we would get that image, okay? Because this is the first image in a gallery, okay? Okay, so how do we integrate this into another stack, okay? I know the foundation image stack supports warehousing, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use foundation image, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it to do warehouse, and I'm going to set, now if you wanted to, what you could do is you would set up the mobile and maybe tablet to be the thumbnail, right? So it would be first image first thumb. So, right? So here I'm going to set up, I'm going to do first image thumb. Oops, type it correct. Okay, and then on desktop, I want to do the full image. Okay, so obviously that's not going to work inside edit mode, right? But if we preview this, it should display that image for us. Boom. So here we go. Here, let's go ahead and it's going full screen. So let's just do the foundation thing and throw it in a column so it constrains it a little bit. Sometime, there we go. So here we see that it's using the original image on desktop. And if we scale that down, we'll see that it uses this. Now, obviously, I can, in the foundation image settings, I could say grow to container width so that it, even on mobile, that thumbnail will scale up, right? And obviously on this, I'd probably want to make sure that, we can customize the thumbnail sizes on the admin side, okay? But this is a great way of integrating images into a different image stack that you might want to use for some reason that actually supports warehousing, okay? So hopefully that's pretty cool and you like that. I think that about covers it with gallery. Let me go ahead and check out the questions. How would you know? Oh, here's the question. How would you know if a stack has warehousing? Well, essentially that stack, like in my foundation image stack, okay. I have an option in there that, warehouse image, okay. It's pretty blatant, right? So the stack would have to have a setting that says warehousing or of some sort, okay. I do have a warehouse image stack. To be honest, like you wouldn't use this, you would just use the CMS image stack instead of the warehouse image stack. But what's another stack? If we were to look at Impact, right? I mean, Impact has direct integration, but let's pretend like it didn't, right? Here's a warehouse option there, and then I could set the image path, in the warehouse setting, right? Now, like I was saying before, Impact actually supports Total CMS, right? So if we wanted to see that here, Impact has a Total CMS slide. I could just set it to source to be a gallery, CMS ID of gallery, okay? I'm not going to try to go through all of these other settings right now, but Impact's really cool if it's like towards the top of the page, right? So, boom. So there we go. That's impact. It does a full screen slideshow. And if you scroll down, right? So as you see, you can now have a fully customizable, like this, hero banner, inside impact, and you can have content, and it can actually overlay the alt text on top if you wanted to. If you used a blog, use the blog integration, it could use the first image from each blog post and then have the blog title and even link to the blog, right? So impact is a really amazing integration with Total CMS. It's very, very slick. It's pretty easy to use. Yeah, as you saw this, it was just a couple clicks and I have it integrated with a gallery, and just magically just showing all that gallery in full screen. Now, obviously, impact, you don't have to have it full screen. It can go, half screen as well. So we just do proportional. It's going to be a little bit smaller. Oh, that's not much smaller. I already do 16 by 9. There we go. So, that's kind of a more, a nicer kind of slideshow banner. And like I said, again, you can, while I'm doing this, why not take another minute? Let's say content is, been a while since I've played with galleries, and I think this would do it. Oh, I didn't set any alt tags for these images. So it would automatically put the alt tag in there as a header, but we don't have that right now. So, yeah, good question. How to determine whether or not images support warehousing or not. It's just kind of like on a stack by stack basis. You just got to know by looking at the settings. Oh, is that? Yes, that was a photo of my father. By the way, yes, that was a photo of my father. Let's see. I published a site, tried to upload an image, but when you refresh the page, the image disappears, even though I saved the page. I'm not gonna be able to help you troubleshoot stuff like that on the fly, because I have 40 other people or 30 other people here. I gotta keep this thing going. It's something we could try to troubleshoot outside of this. If you're available after the, we'll do a hangout after today. If you're available after that, we can, maybe do a one-on-one or something like that. Or if you want to chat about it and give us the URL link to look at it together as a group after this workshop, then I'll be happy to log in and have a look for you. Okay. With impact, when you choose to hide the slide, can you force it to add extra white space at the bottom of the contents if not a full page? Oh, well, like I showed you, you can have it so it's not a full page. So yeah, yes. Okay, I think that answered all the questions. Any other questions about images? I think I covered everything.